From Bungoma, Gongwa, MONBASA, MVITA. Today's topic is about misplaced investments, misplaced mindsets. You may be wondering, why should one have such a queer topic? Queer in the sense that it's talking of misplaced, while assets are supposed to be properly placed. In the beginning, the intention was proper placing, and some have been properly placed, but then there's a cessation of the placement of those investments. I'm going to start with a story about a man. I'm going to talk of several men. A man who was given the Ministry of Health, and he ran the Ministry of Health for some time in this beautiful country. And one time he got ill, only to realize that the facilities required were not there. He went to abroad and got treated and came back. But it was a great revelation to him. He realized that the machines we were using for certain treatments were archaic. He came and started championing a change in the medical section. He ensured that those machines, at least, were made available to some public hospitals, and the process has been going on. It was a realization. Sometimes we say God does things so as to initiate changes. That people had been taking it for granted because many of the people in big positions, they have got good insurances. So when there's a medical problem, they fly. If you have a headache, you can fly. If you have a cold, you can fly. But the very people who are on the ground, who are giving the taxes, do not have such a luxuries. It was such a harrowing experience that brought him to the knowledge. And he did something about, that's what I like about him, I salute him. He did something about it. He's still in politics, and the revelations he started are still ongoing. We may not have achieved what is supposed to be the maximum, but we have made some achievements. I was talking to some friends from outside. Like I said, I had friends from outside. I was, when I was. For now, I've not had contacts. And one of them was telling me that in a country like India, because when our things come almost to a standstill, we rush our patients there. That in the universities, when people are doing their practice, they do it in the government hospitals. And then the government hospitals retain the best of those technicians, physicians, so they work in the public hospital. So somebody was telling me there, people prefer public to private. There was another friend of mine, a former schoolmate. We used to school when we were in primary, and he happened to get a chance to go to, Thailand. And when I met him, when he was coming back, he had a story to tell about the medical facilities. He said that the king, does it have a king? I told me something of that nature that I'm still finding out, I've not followed. That the leader of the country, whenever he would get sick, or their family would get sick, they were not taken to private hospitals. They were not flown abroad. they were taken to the public hospitals. Somebody told me also in Europe, people prefer public hospitals to private hospitals. It is a wake-up call for us, because for us, private is the first place to rush to if you have money, because you expect better facilities, you expect better treatment. I'm not saying that nothing has happened. We give credit where credit is due. The President, His Excellency, has been trying to change things. There is a monetary system that is supposed to ensure that every Kenyan citizen gets free medical attention. We thank him for that, but we have not attained that. But it's better for something to get started in that direction, which is happening. So I will give credit where it's due. But I would also urge that we dream or we think, because we can be able to effect, in that we be at par, so that when the public gets sick, they get the best treatment, of course, catered for fully by the government. It's possible. It's possible. It happened before. When I was young, we never used to pay anything when you were going for the public hospital. When you are sick, you just go to the hospital. They had a card, they write for you a card, free of charge, and then you go, you are examined, they do whatever they are doing, you go for your medicine, and you walk home. It was just like that. It's possible. It's possible. If things are done in the right direction, the way they are, it's possible. We can have a situation where you don't have to pay medical bills at all. Just get treated, and if it's something big, the government can be able to move you out. It's possible. We've begun. We pray for the best. I also would like to remember, he's still there, I think. Remember a former vice president who was given a department that dealt with disciplinary or correction facilities. And he took it upon himself to visit the correctional centers in the country. He realized that the correctional centers needed some correction to be done. He made certain corrections in the welfare of those who are in the correctional centers. He made provisions for those ones. And when he left, things were okay. I don't know about, I've never followed much because I've not heard somebody else talk loudly about the changes that happened there, if they are still sustained or not. But he was amongst those who came up with great ideas. You have to have something like TV for them to be informed. They had to do exams which are still happening, I think, now. So that when one gets out of there, one is better placed to fit back into the society. It was a great move. Something to emulate. I hope whatever he started has been improved on, if not maintained. There's also a story of a man who brought sanity to the transport system. We thought it could never happen. We thought we were, because there was a time we would be fitted in the Nissan, the public vehicle. Kenya we call it matatu, other places I heard in South Africa they call it taxi or something of the sort. There was a time when we were packed like sardines. And you could not complain. And he came and gave laws, and people said it could not happen. And he insisted. He ended up having identification for the drivers, identification for those who are collecting money, and a number of people who are supposed to sit in that Nissan vehicle, and the speed limit, though nowadays some people are breaching it. It reduced the number of accidents. It made people to travel comfortably. He did not only stop at that. He was given something to do with Nairobi City, and the river was dirty because a lot of industrial affluence was being left to flow into the river. And within about 2 years, a year or 2 years, the water in River Nairobi was clean. There were fish introduced, and fish could live in that water. I don't know if it is still being maintained. So well, since I went to Nairobi. But it was an achievement that a man, I'm giving man, whatever situation they would get in and see that it needed changes, they made the necessary changes. He left the Nairobi River having fish. I think some people had even started, some people would do a bit of fishing. I don't know if we still maintain that or if it has deteriorated or if it has improved. Accolades to that man. I thought of a man who brought sanity to examinations in school. People, there was buying of exams, all sort of corruption. And by that time, schools started banning so that there will be confusion when he approached the exam things. As a man, he put his leg down, his foot, they call it the foot, yeah. He stepped down and said, no, things have to change. And he changed the system. The same man was moved to the electronic media. And by then we had one channel, a channel, one TV channel, and one radio channel. And whenever we wanted to see, we would see TVs from outside and other channels that were difficult to get by. He was able to change the system. Now we can watch many TV stations. We can be able to do many things on the electronic media. What he did was something commendable. We still thank him for that. I said I'm looking for good things. There may be other things now that we are in politics and whatever happened, but for those two things that he did, they were wonderful accolades. I'm thinking of a teacher. He was in the anti-corruption cell. And within a short time, the cartels had kicked him back to class. We've been having a spiraling thing of anti-corruption. Sometimes it goes down. I'm not saying they're not working. They are working. But the other one had come with vigor. I always dream that if there could be a chance one time, and he was given a chance so that we see what he can be able to do, maybe we may say goodbye to this corruption problem. As we cheer the construction of decent living facilities, there are buildings where there were slums. When things are happening, we can't shut our eyes and say they are not happening. They are happening. And it's good because it means that the standards of living of Kenyans are going to be improved. Those who are living in shanties can now move to other houses. But the problem is how many can afford. It's a nice thing that is happening. But it would have been even more better if those who cannot afford to buy would live in them on rental basis. Because we know that people who can afford such a buildings. So we may start a project for the common people, but eventually they will end up with the rich who will still rent. So that is an idea, but the government has got their own ideas. Maybe if they would have units and rent them to be bringing revenue to the government, to be better. Because there was a time when I was looking at some videos on construction in the United States, and I saw that there were so many houses, beautiful, nicely built, but people could not afford them. So the houses were there, nobody's getting in, they are growing old, people cannot afford, and such a situation becomes a waste of resources. You've made something that people cannot afford. But in our system, if something like that cannot be able to, we find that they are not affordable because that price, 2 million shillings, okay, we may call it affordable, but the people are the upper middle and the rich. The very people who live in the slums, very few can afford. And we may end up having a situation again where all these houses end up with the rich people, and then those who are in slums again may be forced to immigrate and form other slums. Maybe that is just what I think, my dreams. If we had something that they are constructed, and we used to have municipal council and whatever council houses, the government now makes it a business to be renting and getting revenue to help run the economy. It's more practical. Then we may have them also. I'm not saying they were just built recently. It's a waiting game to see how long they will stay before people take them up. But if it proves difficult, then renting will be the best alternative. And the government still makes revenue out of the houses. And you can build more houses with the revenue being made from the houses and improve the lives of the Kenyan people. It's a very good move. It's a nice move. Accolades to His Excellency. When something good is being done, we say it's being done. I know I've been a critic in every area, but as I criticize, I also applaud what is good. We have talked of SHA and the related schemes and the hospitals in other places. There is something else that I would also like to talk about. I would like to talk about the education system. I was in it a bit before I left the teaching system, the teaching retirement. But there was something that was happening when the laptops came. These laptops had educational books, all educational books that were needed. We've gone back again to the system of buying all educational books. It is expensive to the parent, and I think it is expensive to the government because the government has to buy printed books, and uploading books in computers or on the phone, it is easier, cheaper to upload the material on phones. in such a way that people can be able to get a channel, people can be able to get an app that can be able to make them access material for education, so that the parents, without hardships that they still have, because we are hoping for the economy to improve, it will save them money in that area. In that, with a phone, a child may be able to learn. With a computer, all the materials that is available will be available to the schools, so they can be able to access everything without again rushing to the bookshops to buy these books at very exorbitant prices. I know those who print now hate me, but it is something that has started. When I was there, the computers came. Though they were not everywhere, but at least they were there. And as we were going through them, we found the educational books. They were there. And the schools were being given a storage material so that you can store the information you have. You can even store work done by the pupils, the learners. So it's good to go electronic. Why don't we fully go electronic and make things cheap by ensuring that the way it started, all those course books and whatever are in the computer are accessible by phone, by computer, so that one can be able to just access everything. Even in class, they can be able to access the learning material to make it cheaper and affordable for the parent. It is possible. You started it, you can maintain it. But I know also there are interests where now when books are published, there are those who write, and it's a lucrative business. Can people be able to make money electronically so that their material, whatever they have given, can be used, and they be able to access money just the way musicians access money by sending their music through the electronic media, but a certain amount is remitted to them. It will be cheaper. It will be cheaper. It's possible. And while still on that, I would like to give accolades for the reduction of fertilizer. The government has worked hard on that, but we always wish for something even better. So as we thank for what is there, it will be good if we could even find cheaper resources so that they make food production cheaper. And then there is something I also wanted to talk about, because when Your Excellency came, or the President starting, there was this promise that there will be a mobile phone assembly factory and a laptop assembly factory. Things are still a bit exorbitant. We don't know if they have started, but it would be nice occasionally if you highlight that thing and talked about the laptops and whatever are in progress or they have started. Please acquire your cheap telephones, because by that time it said if everything happens, even a phone can be a good mobile phone. By mobile I mean being able to Android or something of that nature, that caliber of phone will be as cheap as 2,000 shillings or 2,500 shillings. Remember, there's still time. you can still start it for us so that you credit it for the voting time. We shall remember. And if it is there and working, please highlight to us occasionally. The phones are out, get them. The computers are out, get them. So that we become fully digitized. We would also talk of vaccinations. Thanks for that. And vaccination for people, vaccinations for animals. You've made provisions for that. But also, as we copy the other countries, I like talking of India because it has made a lot of development passes. We've been getting generic medicine sometimes from there. Is this something that can be done in Kenya? So that we don't rely on other places, but we make we have got the manpower, we have got the knowledge. If you fund them, they can produce this medicine here, even vaccines here, so that we rely on everything here. We make it in Kenya. It will give more people more employment, it will keep us healthier, and it will give us our national pride. And I talked about this thing that does not sound sweet. It's still vexing people here and there. I talked about the snakes. Snakes did not mean that we go and get snakes in the forest. When the prophets, our Kenyan prophets were prophesying, they were talking of snakes coming from coast to the inland, and when the snake comes, started with a snake, an iron snake, it will make changes. If at least the snake would start working, different snakes. That one talks of pipeline, that one talks of air, that one talks of road, that one talks of even the water, because if you map the travel routes, it's snake-like. So that the common public can be able to access. Snakes like electricity, we can make cheaper electricity. There are so many, the Kenyan is producing from many places, and if it's still exorbitant, the neighboring countries can be able to pass it to us in a cheaper manner than maybe it would help us, that would help us save in costs. So consider that. We shall remember when the voting comes. We talked of economic progress, economic changes. It is you at the helm. We pray that you be able to manage so that the things become even cheaper. There are those resources that you can be able to use. And we all look upon you for that, because it was what you promised us. We are confident that within the 2 years, you may be able to make tangible milestones so that when it comes to that time, you will be able to talk of, I promised, I gave this. It is cheaper and easier to show things practically than telling them we have done this and we shall do this. Yes, we don't refuse that in 25 years we'll be amongst the first world countries. But we would really be very grateful if we got what's near as we advance towards the course to being a first world country. They are within reach. They are there. You can be able to provide. And when you do, there won't be much campaigning. People will remember. But as you do, please highlight, talk about it, so that these things may be there and other people who do business with, start taking advantage of them. They may never be known that they were started by you. So highlight so that the citizens can give you credit where it's due. And that time, according to the things that are there, they will remember. That is my take for now.